There's a particular kind of competence that characterized Black childhood in the 1970s. It wasn't learned in schools or from instruction manuals. It was absorbed through living, through watching, through necessity, through the understanding that your survival might depend on knowing how to do things yourself. Black kids in the 1970s were skilled, not in the abstract, theoretical sense, but in the practical, hands-on, immediate sense. They could do things, they could fix things, they could create things, they could survive. This wasn't unique to Black kids, of course, but it was universal among Black kids. It wasn't optional, it was expected. You learned these skills because your family needed you to learn them, because your community expected you to be competent, because there were tasks that needed doing, and you were expected to contribute meaningfully. The skills were intergenerational, passed from parents to children, from grandparents to grandchildren, from older siblings to younger ones. The skills were also economical. Many of them were about saving money, about avoiding waste, about making do with what you had. Today, those skills have largely disappeared. Kids don't need them. They have technology, they have stores, they have services. They have choices that previous generations didn't have. But something has been lost in this transition. They've lost competence. They've lost the confidence that comes from being able to do necessary things. They've lost touch with the practical wisdom that kept previous generations afloat. These skills weren't just practical, they were psychological. They built self-efficacy, resilience, and the knowledge that you could handle whatever came your way. Cooking a complete meal from scratch without a recipe. The ability to plan a meal, understand what ingredients were needed, prepare those ingredients, and cook everything so that it came together at the right time and tasted good, all without consulting a recipe, all from memory and intuition. By watching, by helping, by being expected to contribute to family meals. By the age of 12, a Black kid had watched their mother, grandmother, or father cook countless meals. They understood the process. They knew that onions and celery were foundational to many dishes. They understood the principle of browning meat, of low and slow cooking, of tasting and adjusting seasoning. They'd actually participated, stirring, chopping, seasoning. A family's survival depended on eating. If your mother got sick, someone else had to cook. If you wanted to eat on a day when the main cook wasn't available, you needed to know how. Cooking was a life skill, not a hobby or a luxury. It was expected that by your teen years, you could prepare a basic meal. Why kids today can't do it? They've never had to. They have microwaves, takeout, processed foods, and recipe apps. They've never had to figure out what to do with the chicken and vegetables. They've never had to think about timing. Most have never watched a parent cook with any frequency. The skill has been completely outsourced.
Hand washing and drying dishes efficiently.
The ability to wash a full sink of dishes quickly and thoroughly using minimal water and soap, and then drying them and putting them away before the water got cold. By doing it every day, multiple times per day, from childhood through adulthood. Some kids wash dishes every single day from age 6 or 7 onward. Dishwashers were luxuries that most Black families didn't have. Dishes had to be washed by hand. If dishes piled up, they created problems. If you wasted water or soap, you were wasting family resources. Kids learned to be efficient because efficiency was necessity. Dishwashers are now standard. Hand washing dishes feels archaic. Kids have never had to do it, so they don't know the techniques. They don't understand how to manage the temperature of the water, how to order the washing, glasses first, then plates, then pans, then flatware, or how to dry efficiently. Many would probably waste water and take twice as long.
Mending clothes, sewing buttons, patching, basic repairs. The ability to sew a button back on a shirt, patch a hole in pants or fabric, and perform other basic clothing repairs that kept clothes wearable longer. By necessity and by example, Mothers sewed buttons on. Grandmothers patched clothes. Clothes had to last because you didn't have unlimited resources to replace them. Kids learned to do these things because it was expected. By their teens, they could repair most basic clothing issues. Clothing was expensive relative to family income. If a button fell off, you fixed it. If you got a tear, you patched it. If you didn't, the clothing became unwearable and you lost the resource. The ability to mend extended the life of clothing significantly, which meant the family's clothing budget went further. Clothes are cheap and disposable. When a button falls off, you buy new clothes or throw the item away. Fast fashion has made clothing so inexpensive that repair seems pointless. Kids have never had to think about extending the life of a garment. Most couldn't sew a button on if their life depended on it. Most have never held a needle and thread.
Making something from nothing, building, creating, improvising. The ability to look at available materials and create something useful or fun. A game, a toy, a tool, a piece of furniture. The capacity to imagine possibility and then execute it using what you had. By playing, by watching adults create things from scrap materials, by necessity. If you wanted a toy and didn't have money to buy one, you had to make it. By being in spaces where materials were available and the expectation was that you'd figure out what to do with them. Entertainment and toys cost money. Creating your own meant saving family resources while also developing competence and creativity. More fundamentally, it taught that you could control your own experience. If you wanted something, you didn't have to ask. You could make it. Everything is available for purchase. Kids don't have to imagine alternatives. Options exist. They also don't have unstructured time in physical spaces with materials. Many grow up in contexts where creating things from materials isn't modeled or expected. The cognitive habit of, what can I make from what I have, is gone.
From identifying and gathering wild plants and foods, the knowledge of which wild plants were edible and where to find them, the ability to identify edible mushrooms, wild greens, nuts, and other natural foods that could supplement diet or provide free nutrition. From parents and grandparents who often had rural roots, even if they lived in cities. From seasons, from necessity. The knowledge was intergenerational and place-specific. Free food was valuable. If you knew where to find wild mushrooms, wild greens, or nuts, you had access to nutrition without spending money. In lean times, this knowledge could be the difference between hunger and eating. It connected families to the land and to natural cycles. They've never needed to. Food comes from stores. They've never been taught which plants are edible or how to identify them. They don't know the seasons for mushrooms or greens. Most have been taught to view wild plants with suspicion rather than as potential resources. The knowledge has been deliberately lost.
Starting a fire and managing fire safety. The ability to start a fire safely with matches or by friction and maintain it responsibly. The knowledge of fire safety, what to do if a fire started accidentally, how to use fire safely for cooking or warmth. By necessity and by gradual introduction, kids learn fire safety early because fire was a real presence in homes. Stoves used fire. Many homes used fireplaces or wood burning heat. Kids learned to respect fire and use it safely. Fire was essential. You might need to start a fire for cooking or warmth. Understanding fire meant understanding a basic survival skill. Fire safety was critical because fire was a real danger, particularly in densely populated communities. Electricity and gas have replaced fire for most purposes. Kids don't encounter fire in daily life, except as entertainment. They've never been taught to start a fire or manage one. Many would probably be terrified to try. The skill is gone because the necessity is gone.
Navigating without GPS or maps, using landmarks and direction. The ability to find your way around the neighborhood, the city, or the region without a map or GPS. The understanding of direction, landmarks, and how to ask for directions and understand the answers. By walking, by biking, by being outside and navigating independently from a young age, by asking adults and learning, by paying attention to the physical environment. Kids had freedom to roam. They had to be able to find their way home. They had to be able to get to school, to their friend's house, to the store. Learning navigation was essential. It was also a way of becoming familiar with your community, knowing where things were, how to get there, who lived where. GPS exists. Kids don't walk or bike alone. They're driven or transported. They've never had to pay attention to direction or landmarks because they rely on technology. Many feel lost immediately if they don't have GPS. The skill of spatial awareness and navigation by landmarks has largely disappeared.
8. Identifying quality in vegetables and produce without labels.
The knowledge of how to select good produce, understanding by color, feel, smell, and weight whether a vegetable or fruit was ripe, fresh, and worth the money. The ability to distinguish between good produce and produce that was starting to go bad. By shopping with parents, by handling produce, by learning what right looked like, felt like, smelled like, by being taught what to look for. Money was tight. You couldn't afford to buy produce that would rot or wasn't ripe. You had to know what to select. You had to understand the seasons and what was in season, what was expensive and what was cheap. Prepackaged, pre-cut produce dominates. Kids buy what the label says or what looks pretty without evaluating quality. They don't handle raw produce regularly. They don't have the experience of learning what a ripe avocado feels like or what to look for in a melon. This skill has been replaced by reliance on labels and marketing. 9. Improvising toys and games from household items. The ability to turn common household items into toys and games. A bottle became a doll. Sticks became weapons in imaginary play. Rope became jump rope or a tool in complex games. String became fishing line. Everything had potential. Through unsupervised play, through creativity and imagination, through not having manufactured toys, so creating your own entertainment was survival. Toys were expensive. Entertainment was something you created for yourself. The ability to play with minimal resources was essential. It also developed creativity and imagination, skills that the brain needs to develop. They have toys, apps, screens, structured entertainment. They've never had to improvise. They've never learned to look at common items and see play potential. If a toy breaks, a new one is available. If they're bored, they have entertainment options. The skill of creating your own fun with nothing has vanished. Fixing simple mechanical problems. Adjusting, tightening, replacing. The ability to diagnose and fix simple mechanical problems. A loose screw making a rattle, a door that won't close properly, a faucet that drips. By watching, by helping adults with repairs, by being expected to handle simple fixes themselves, by having tools available and knowing they were for using. Maintenance was necessary. If something broke or started not working right, you fixed it if you could. Waiting for or paying for repairs wasn't always an option. Knowing how to tighten a screw or adjust something saved money and got things working again. Things are built to be replaced, not repaired. Many items don't have visible screws or don't come apart. Kids don't have tools available. They've never learned to diagnose mechanical problems. If something isn't working, they either ignore it or replace it. The skill of basic repair is gone.
Stretching food to feed more people than expected. The knowledge and intuition to take a meal planned for 4 people and stretch it to feed 6 or 8 without anyone going hungry or the quality being obviously diminished. The understanding of how to add bulk to a meal, how to balance nutrition, how to make things work. By living through it, by watching mothers and grandmothers perform culinary miracles with limited resources, by being taught the principles, add beans to stretch meat, add broth to stretch sauce, make cornbread or biscuits to add substance. Unexpected guests happened, economic circumstances changed. You had to be able to make do. The ability to stretch food meant you never had to turn away someone who needed to eat. They've never had to stretch anything. If more people show up, you order more food. There's no practice in understanding proportions, in knowing how to add bulk without diminishing nutrition or taste. The skill is gone because the necessity is gone.
Tying complex knots and understanding rope work. The ability to tie various knots for different purposes. A secure knot to hold something. A knot that could be easily undone. A knot that was decorative. The understanding of rope and its uses. Through practical use, through play with rope, through watching adults use rope for purposes like hanging clothes, securing cargo, tying packages, through Boy Scouts or similar organizations, through jump rope games that required knot tying. Rope was useful. You tied things up, you hung things, you secured things. Understanding knots meant you could do these things effectively. It also meant you had a practical skill that could be useful in unexpected situations. Rope is less essential. Things are held together with plastic ties, Velcro, or tape. Kids don't encounter rope regularly. Jump rope might have Velcro or hooks instead of knots. The skill of knot tying has been lost because the practical applications have disappeared.
This is just the beginning. There are so many more skills we haven't talked about yet. If you remember any of these or learned them growing up, share your stories in the comments. I'll be reading them and featuring some in part 2. And if you want to continue this journey with us, don't forget to subscribe.